Salut à tous, je suis tellement excité, tellement content de commencer mon premier TV show. Après 10 ans de radio, 2 ans de podcast, grâce à SKWEEK, j'ai mon propre show télé, de Tony Parker Show. Non, je rigole. De SKWEEK Show by Tony Parker. Donc vous êtes chez moi, vous êtes dans mon studio. On est à Paris là, donc je vais recevoir des invités de malades. On va rentrer dans des débats, on va essayer vraiment de faire quelque chose d'unique. On va faire quelque chose qui est différent. Et j'ai pas envie d'avoir que des basketteurs, j'ai pas envie de faire que du sport. On aura des musiciens, des artistes, des comédiens, des chefs. Avant de parler de tout ça, je vais vous faire un petit tour de mon studio. Donc voilà le vestiaire. J'espère qu'avec mes invités, on va les mettre au défi, on les fera jouer un peu au basket. Ou c'est peut-être le siège de Stephen Brun. S'il m'énerve, il va s'asseoir ici. Ici, on a un jeu d'arcade. Alors, pour tous ceux qui suivent ma carrière, vous savez comment j'adore les Marvel, les DC Comics. Il y a à peu près 10 000 jeux, donc on va se faire plaisir. Je pense que vous savez, j'ai une des plus grandes collections au monde, life-size statues. Un jour, je vous la montrerai. Mais en attendant, on pourra se faire plaisir ici. On a un petit billard. Voilà le nom du show, de SKWEEK Show by Tony Parker. Je remercie toutes les équipes qui participent. J'ai vraiment la chance d'avoir une super équipe et on a besoin de ça pour faire un show de qualité. Je suis vraiment content, je suis vraiment bien entouré de SKWEEK Show by Tony Parker. Après, on a un bar. Le bar est très sympa. Tous ceux qui me suivent depuis longtemps, vous savez que j'adore le vin, j'adore le champagne. Donc, on va faire déguster mes invités. On va inviter tous les grands chefs. Je pense que tous les sommeliers, en tout cas, on va se faire plaisir. C'est un bar qui va être très très sympa. En tout cas, on va l'utiliser, ça c'est sûr. Mais pour commencer, j'ai voulu faire un show unique. C'est très très rare. Je suis devenu cet été le premier Français à rentrer dans le Hall of Fame. Je suis un Hall of Famer maintenant et c'est vrai que ça fait bizarre. Je ne pensais pas que quelqu'un comme moi pourrait vivre une expérience comme ça. Là, j'ai des souvenirs gravés à jamais. J'avais en plus toute ma famille, tous mes amis, tout le monde est venu aux États-Unis. J'avais à peu près 200 Français qui ont fait le voyage. C'est pour ça que j'ai appelé la French Mafia. Donc, on va replonger dedans. Et premier épisode, vous avez 3 petites minutes sur le Hall of Fame. C'est parti.
Tony Parker.
I had a great family. My dad is from Chicago. My mom is from the Netherlands, Amsterdam. I'm born in Belgium, but I'm French. So, go figure. I grew up with both cultures. I felt like I had the best of both worlds, and it helped me a lot for my journey. To my dad, I love you, Timon. To my mom, she was a health doctor, helped me a lot for the longevity of my career. I love you very much. Thanks for everything. To my 2 brothers, TJ and Pierre. Those guys will do anything for me. I love you guys. Coach Pop, it starts with him. Coach Pop, you're unbelievable. You're unbelievable. I can say a lot of stuff about you, Papo. The way you cursed at me and the language that you used to push me, but I have my kids here, so I'm just gonna keep it simple. At the end of the day, you threw me in the fire. At 19 years old, in 5 games into my rookie year, you put me in the back in the plane, you called me and you're like, you starting tomorrow. I was like, really? I was like, did you talk to Timmy? Yeah, because I was still thinking he didn't like French people, so I was like a little bit scared, you know. And Pop's like, you'll be fine. You starting, and the rest is history. You've always been a second dad to me, Pop. Everything you did for me and my family, I appreciate everything. Thank you, Pop. I love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate and love you all. Let's have a good night.
Waouh, rien que de revoir les images, c'est un truc de fou quand même. Je pensais pas que quelqu'un comme moi pourrait vivre une soirée comme ça quand j'étais petit et j'ai toujours rêvé en grand, mais jamais j'aurais pu imaginer d'être au Hall of Fame et de vivre une soirée où tu reçois ta bague et tu reçois la veste orange, la veste mythique. C'est officiel, t'es dans le musée du basket. Et de vivre ça avec Dwyane Wade, Dirk Nowitzki et Pau Gasol, contre qui j'ai joué toute ma carrière, c'était vraiment une classe impressionnante. Et en plus, avec Pop et Becky Hammon, non, franchement, c'était un truc de fou. Et donc, je suis vraiment content de pouvoir faire mon premier show avec Dwyane Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol. En plus, c'était le lendemain matin, donc on était encore dans les émotions. Et en plus, j'ai pu partager ça avec deux de mes meilleurs amis, Thierry Henry et Pokora.
So we're here live in Springfield for the first SKWEEK show by Tony Parker. It's a special edition. I got two of my best friends who's going to ask questions. We're going to make it a little bit different today. Thank you very much, Dwyane, Pau, Dirk. My first question is very easy. How do you feel after last night wearing that beautiful orange jacket? I will start with you, Dwyane.
I said last night, I was like, that's the moment for me where like I felt like I officially became a Hall of Famer. Like you watch Hall of Famers get their jackets, and that's the big moment. And so once that jacket got put on by my father and my son, the 3 generations of Wades, like the kid in me was just in there dancing. So it felt good.
I have to admit, when I saw your kid, I was like, man, I wish my kid was a little bit like bigger, because I thought it was pretty cool to see the 3 generation.
Thank you, bro.
But I felt like they were too small. But they were cheering, so I was happy. That was my only wish, that my kids can see me play, you know, because now they ask me a lot of questions, you know.
Yeah.
And I was always, when I was younger, no, I'll do kids later. But when I saw you and I saw your kid and you did your sign that I never know what you do with your son.
Handshake.
Handshake. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Like, that's really cool.
It looks cool now, but when I was 20 and I had a kid, it wasn't cool then.
That wasn't cool, right?
So,
Pau, how did you feel?
I felt great. I mean, it's kind of, the moment that you besides the speech and stuff, which is kind of like the harder part, the more intense and nerve-wracking. But the moment of getting the jacket, getting the ring on by my parents, it's very, very special, and to see all of you too getting that jacket at the same time, and that takes it to a whole nother level for me too. So it was awesome just to be on that same stage, one after the other, just getting our jackets on, getting our rings on by our loved ones. Pretty special, man.
Why your parents?
They brought me to the world. They brought me to the world, and they given me probably the biggest honor. So I felt that they were the right, I get goosebumps when I hit them up. It's real, right? I mean, I love my parents. They've done a lot for me. They left their jobs and their careers when I came to the NBA. They didn't even hesitate. They brought my brothers. They yanked them from school. Screw it. We're going to Memphis. So
we're going to struggle tonight, pal.
Yeah.
If you have goosebumps right now, we're going to struggle. I'll speech tonight too. Because I know I'm going to struggle. I'm not even going to lie. I know I'm going to struggle. Because to look like your parents and your kids, I did a lot of speech in my life. And at the end of my career, I got an honor from the French country. It's like being like a knight, And so the guy tells his thing, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was my turn to talk, And man, it was my first time. Like, it was, you're done with your career, so you finally go like this. And it was my first speech after that. Man, when I started talking about my parents, I couldn't control myself. I started crying. Oh. It came, I couldn't control it.
Snot come out?
Excuse me?
The snot come out your nose?
Everything. Like everything.
When the snot
You wait,
starts
I never experienced that. I never experienced that in my life. And I wanted to come back, and that feeling that like is stuck, I was like, man, I couldn't. It was like crazy.
It's okay, MJ cried too, you can.
No, MJ's got that meme and everything too, so I'm good.
You don't want the same with the snot.
Yeah, no snot, bro. Used to be
I
like
try
this.
my best, D-Wade. I try my best.
Me too.
Dirk?
Yeah, I mean, same. I think Saturday was actually the moment I was looking forward to the most. Friday, the jacket and the ring. Tonight, I'm also a little anxious and nervous, but I think yesterday was perfect. Holger, obviously, who's found me when I was 15, and my dad being there on stage with us. So that was the moment I was looking forward to the most, and I enjoyed it, and so many friends and family were there to see it, and so I'll never forget that night for the rest of my life.
There was a lot of Germans in the room.
There were some Germans there,
Some Germans there.
some Dallas people representing, so we got a big crew.
We had a whole big section. It was
Yeah, it was
like
it's gonna be fun even tonight, and then I can't wait.
What you looking forward the most for tonight? Besides, I know the speech is going to be tough, but
Well, yeah, I'm nerve-wracked for my speech, but I'm looking forward to hear everybody else, everybody's message, and I think that's super cool, and seeing everybody on stage and seeing the guys that present you guys that meant so much to this game, and so I just can't wait for the ceremony. For us, it'll be a little tough. We're sitting there basically 2.5 hours. We're the last two to go. You guys, you're knocking it out early.
I love it.
You're like,
I love it.
you're like this for 3 hours.
I'm just going to enjoy it.
But it'll be great. It'll be great to watch and see you guys be up there and hold your speeches. So I can't wait.
I was happy to see J Kidd. Like I was telling him, like I saw him coming last night, and I was like, I just watched the game 3 days ago, 2003 finals, and J Kidd was super happy for you, and they were talking about you, and it's nice to be able to talk with all the legends, and I'm looking forward to tonight. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more than yesterday, and so I'm looking forward because that was one of my favorite moments 2 years ago and last year when I went for Timmy and Manu. It was meeting all the legends, and I was able to gamble with Charles Barkley, so that was pretty cool. I always heard about the stories about Charles Barkley gambling. It was my first time gambling with him 2 years ago at the Hall of Fame, so that was pretty cool.
Yo, your whole crew was gambling last night. Bro.
I know. We were at your party,
I
man.
know. Y'all
we
were on the
were
side.
at your party, man.
Yo,
We were at your
Music
party.
was good, by the way. Thank you.
There was a great night, and I listened to your speeches, and it was very emotional. The way
cried.
you talk, I know the
I
way
know,
you
I cried
talked
last
about
night.
the way you talked about your team, and no, it was very inspiring.
Thank you, bro.
And then we were gambling like crazy. Like free food, thanks to you.
Nice.
So what can we talk about? Like
I got one. I was wondering, what was your biggest fear when you were playing? And what's your biggest fear now? Because I always say to myself that what you fear will master you. Because you run after it or you try to not be in that situation. So for me, I'll share, mine was always to put a smile on the face of my dad. I fear that because I couldn't. My dad was tough love. So it was always the thing. And after, it was a fear of not being a good dad. I know I moved from the gambling and but those
deep, it's
real
deep.
quick.
No, but I like this type of thing because I try to figure out what happened in my career down the line. Having kids also does change you big time, and so that's the question. Biggest fear when you were playing, and now.
Well, that is a great question. I guess my biggest fear when I was playing was probably not being great enough. Like I always had it carried me because I always wanted to be better than I was. Like I always wanted to work hard and just be better. Like my fear was like, I'm not good enough, I'm not great enough. Like I want to be, I never wanted to fall any lower than I was. I've always wanted to keep rising. And so I had a fear of that. It woke me up in the middle of the nights and I go to the gym. Like I just had a fear of not being good enough. I wasn't like, you're not blessed with all the not blessed with 7'1", you know, like 7'1", and so being 6'4" and playing a position and not being a shooter in that position, and you know all these things. You know, I had a fear of, you know, not being good enough, and I wanted to be great, and so that carried me. You know, it was a healthy fear that it didn't allow me to sit down and get comfortable. And I think to your point, probably now it's all about being a parent. Like I got from 21 to 4, I fear, you know, not doing it right, you know, not getting it right. And even though I know it's gonna be okay, I still have that fear that I may not do it right. And so, you know, just trying to be as good a parent as I can. So that's mine.
For me, kind of similar. For me, it was more, not so much. You know, I knew that I was talented, but it was kind of like more like letting people down, letting my teammates down, letting my country down. You know, not performing at the best of my levels, let's say. And that came also because at the end of the day, we're athletes, we're basketball players, but we have a personal side. So when my personal side was a little bit off balance, you know, not allowing that to affect me on the court, you know, that was challenging, right? And you could see at times where I couldn't block it anymore, let's say, and it would affect. And you know, obviously we're humans, we're not machines, right? So that's that aspect that sometimes you go through those ups and downs, you know, and so, you know, that, you know, not letting my teammates down, that was upset. That was, for me, what I didn't want to happen. And that's why I kind of tried to work hard to not allow that to happen too often. And then now is more, as Dwyane said, and you mentioned, it's about being a parent and being a good role model, being present. I have my kids later on in my life, which is a good thing from the standpoint that I can be more present. You know, I can't imagine how, you know, having kids at a young age is, how, you know, what that feels like. But obviously now you can enjoy them in a different way, and there's pros and cons to everything, right?
Scary as shit.
Yeah, scary as shit, right? But to me, it's like I want to provide for my children, and I want them to enjoy the rewards of my hard work and what I've earned, but I also want them to be grounded. And I don't want them to lose the values that I received from my parents. And I don't want them to take things for granted. And I don't want them to be entitled. I don't want them to be too spoiled. I don't want, you know. So providing them with that balance and perspective, and for them to be grounded and appreciate what they have, that's my challenge and my fear, let's say, that I have to consciously make sure that I'm proactive with my wife, that we share those values and we give them enough life experiences that say, hey, we're very fortunate.
Yeah, I think you said that really well. On the personal side, it's all about family and my children and the fear of something happening to them, or sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and think about stuff, what could happen. I think that's part of being a parent. And but I agree with you. I want them to be humble, like my parents obviously raised me, and so there is a very fine line. I want them to grow up being citizens of the world. You know, that's why we travel. We take them to Kenya, to Africa, to Europe. I want them to speak languages. I want them to learn the world, so whatever they decide later in life, they can adapt to pretty much anything. And so that's a little bit of a fear for me. I don't want them to grow up in a bubble. I want them to wherever they get thrown into life, they can adjust and make it work. And for playing, I was a little bit like D. Wade. I was always worried, am I good enough? Am I not? You know, if I don't work out today, somebody else will work out. He'll be better than me. And so I always it was a little fear-driven. You know, like if I don't have motivation this summer, I'll be sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to go practice today. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, well, KG or Tim Duncan are not sitting on their butts or Pau, you know, so I had this fear. They're working out, so that motivated me again. So it's always like that was also pushing me to every summer try to get better and work on my all-around game, because I knew somebody else is in their gym working their butts off getting better. So I also used that as motivation.
if you were not a basketball player,
Well, you got to answer the question.
you want me to answer the question?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you gotta
answer this one.
What you fear will master you. We need to know.
You need to know this one.
So to me, as a basketball player, my biggest fear is that I was not going to earn the respect from the Americans. That was my biggest fear, because my dad was an American, and he was so proud about his basketball and how Americans are the best at that sport. My biggest fear was like he will not be happy or proud of me because I'm not good enough, kind of like you, to a certain extent. And then now that my career is over, it comes back to the same as you guys, my kids. You know, my son broke his wrist 3 days ago, and I thought it was the end of the world. You know, it was like, man, I can only imagine if something happened that, I don't know, something worse, you know, happened. How do you handle that? Like, how do you handle this? Like, some families go through crazy stuff, you know, and you still have to go through life. And kids definitely change my mindset. Meaning, like, before I will do crazy stuff. I will do parachutes, or I will do stuff that I will never be scared in planes, by the way. I will never be scared in planes. Now, if the plane does a little bit like this, first thing comes in my mind, like, man, what happened if I'm not there anymore? Like, for my kids. Before planes, I will not care. I was like, oh, if it's my time, it's my time. You can't control it. You know, I'd be like, oh, you know. But now I'm like, no, I want to be there. I want to be there for my kids. So it definitely changed the way I'm seeing life now with those two little boys that you all met. So.
To bounce on what you just said, it's interesting because I have a question for you guys about the perspective of the European players in the NBA. At what point, when in the NBA did you feel that the respect on the European basketball players started to grow? And at what one moment did you realize that, okay, now European players are sort of a big deal, and what you guys done, you were in the same class, like 3 European players, it's huge. So you obviously the first big generation for European players.
Perception is a funny thing. You know, we, like when I grew up, you know, from the community that I'm from, if I seen a white boy, I'm like, oh, I got him. I don't know him at all. It's just a perception that he's not better than me. He can't be better than me, right? Like, you'll hear a lot of, you know, African Americans speak from that space, from an ignorant space in a sense. But I think from a basketball standpoint, playing, that was the thought, like, oh, international players are soft, right? Then I played international basketball. I got my ass kicked. And I was like, oh, no, they're skilled. Actually, the game is actually tougher. Actually, our game is a little softer, you want to be honest. And so the experience of going to play international basketball for me immediately changed, you know, everything that I've ever thought about. You know,
it's when you played for Team USA?
Yeah, after my rookie year. It was the first time. Before that, I didn't have a lot of experience.
Olympics, 06.
And we lost. But I got a chance to play against, and like, the game was different. The game was actually tougher, like I said. It wasn't called as soft as the American game. I was like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought this was gonna be. I thought we was about to come over here and we was about to smash everybody because, you know, they're soft. They're not as tough as us. They're not as good as us.
That's why I was gonna ask you, in 06, when you lose against Greece, like, what's the conversation like in the locker room? Meaning, like, man, Europeans are good now. Like to start the process of the redeem team, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started in 04, actually. 06, they called us. They ran a high pick and roll and beat us. That's another story. Mm-hmm. But it started in 04 for us. You know, we have never lost really into that point, into that time. Mm-hmm. And like walking in that locker room with, you know, and it's a bronze, first of all. Countries would do a lot for a bronze. And we walked in the locker room after that and we were just like we just got our ass kicked. Mm-hmm. Like, we created this game, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, you know, and so obviously the talent level has, you know, it's continued to rise around the world. But that was my first experience. I never had really a lot of experience against international players until I played in the Olympics, and then getting the chance to play against the great international players. It's a level, and it didn't matter no more. But I think at first, just growing up, it's just perception of what someone tells you or what you hear. It's not really from experience, because I didn't have a lot of experience playing against international players. So Yeah.
When I first got in the league, I speak a lot of personal experience. I used to hear all the time, I'd be guarding somebody on the wing in front of the opposing bench, and they were like, "Go at him, he's soft." And so I'd hear this stuff, but it's also part of the fun and a little bit of trash talking, and that's part of the motivation. You want to make it through that and show, hey, I might not be dunking like everybody else, but maybe I'm tough enough mentally, and I can get my body stronger and sort of compete at the highest level. So I think that's just part of that change there. The late 90s, there was still a physical league. The 4s and 5s were all big. And then early 2000s, the NBA wanted a little more scoring. They changed the rules. They put the zone in. They took away the hand check-in. So that really played right in our hands. I mean, especially for me, all of a sudden the game opened up. It was pick and roll. It was a little more movement, not so much one-on-one. And that's how we played growing up. So I think that really the change of the NBA also helped there in the early 2000s to really open the game up for the European, especially bigs that come over skill, bring the ball up, initiate the offense. And so that rule change helped. And then more and more guys come in, and Tony and Pau, and then, you can see, okay, where there's a lot more here, and they're here to stay. And but in the late 90s, I still used to hear that all the time.
Yeah, for me, it's also, I mean, when I first got in the league, I was, pretty skinny still, and guys would test me, and they would, help elbow me, and see how I would react. If I would back down and just say, "Oh no, I don't want any of this," or if I would just stand up and say, "All right, motherfucker, I'm going to go take it to you," and that's what with KG first couple games, he was just rah rah rah, boom. I'm like, all right, fuck. So then I had to earn his respect. So then I went right at him, and then I just looked at him, and I bumped him right after I dunked on him and 2 other teammates. And that's talk to us. That's what you gotta do.
That's the power we're looking for.
That's another side. Yeah, I do have that side too. So yeah, just little by little, just just proving yourself, just going at the success,
earn the respect,
of players. Tony having success with San Antonio, being the starting point guard, winning championships, Finals MVP, then Dirk, doing what he's done for so long, and then I was able to also step in and do some good things. Internationally, the battles with USA were fantastic. In the finals of those 2 Olympic Games in 08 and 12, we made them earn it.
Gotta say 2008 has to be one of the best finals ever. 2008. The 2008 finals, Spain, US. It has to be maybe the best final in Olympics ever.
We were going at it.
Kobe went like this.
Going at it, swing bunches, swinging. You go, I go, you go, I go. And let's see who gets tired first, or who, and we just kept going at it. It was great. D-Wade played a fantastic game that game. We tried to take him out a little bit here and there. My teammate tried to sneak his foot in there. Let's see if I can lands on it or something. Anyway, it was a good game.
Do you really think you can win that game?
I thought we had a chance. I thought we were very close. And Kobe kind of stepped up at the end and kind of, made a couple big plays, big 3, big N1 on Rudy. But it was a great game. It was a great game when it was like, head to head and stuff like that kind of started breaking more, pushing, the barrier or breaking down the barriers. Hey, international players and international game is strong. And the Americans better be alert, and they can't just roll up here and just, and think they're going to win by 20. Yeah. They're going to have to earn it. And that's, and players like, and I showed Kobe, I think that was the message, and that I'm sure he sent and said, it's kind of tough. And I remember Dwight and Chris Bosh, and their whole mission was just to go and bang me every chance they could, just boom. Every time down the court, I would just have to run through those guys, and wear me out. But Scoop and Cope, with that play, that the redeem team,
First play.
it's kind of setting the tone, saying, hey, this is what we're going to do.
You understood straight?
Yeah, it's great, but it's competition.
First play, you said like, okay,
It's
that's
competition,
the message.
yeah. But even though I think that play, because it's a little confusing in the documentary, I think that was in a game that we played in the group.
In the group.
That was the first game. It wasn't a final game.
It was the beginning of the competition.
They actually kicked our ass in that game.
Yeah.
And they
Did y'all
physically.
Did y'all?
No.
Because everybody was like, they kind of just like at the while, y'all just kind of.
I mean, we didn't. We didn't let you guys.
Yeah, well, like once we
but
got
you
up.
guys were like ready, and
Yeah, we were
weren't
ready.
quite that ready at that point.
Yeah.
And we had a tendency to start the tournaments kind of slow,
Always.
and
We
then
won by like 4.
then we're back against the wall, then we tighten up, and then we just roll.
Yeah.
But we won a lot of championships that way.
Yeah. We won by like 40, so we
Yeah.
kind of softened us a little
Right.
bit too. We like.
So and then the final.
Then
game
the finals
came,
happened.
It was a different story.
Different game.
It was a different story.
Different
You
team.
guys always did that. It was actually always talk that you threw one group game, so then you
I'm not sure.
I didn't want to bring it up, but here we are.
Pissed me off in 2009. We were undefeated the whole tournament, and we played you guys in the quarterfinals because they lost a game, and he was like kind of hurt with his finger. I was like, oh come on, and we play Spain
Always
in the quarterfinals.
the top with Spain and the group play. Little shadiness going on.
We just took our training camp a little slower. Try to pace ourselves, save our
Finish
our best
strong.
for
I like
last.
it. Finish strong.
Any regrets like in your career or like when you look at it now that you can reflect? I'll start with you, Dirk.
I mean, I've always went for it. Not really regrets. I mean,
But then I love it. Then if you have done this, perfect.
I mean, if I always try to get everything out of my talent that was given to me, I try to get everything out. And at the end of the day, if you do that and you work hard every day, there shouldn't be any regrets. Of course, I would have loved to win 4 championships, or you guys with 2 or 3, and I'm happy with the one. But it wasn't meant to be for more. But if you work and push hard every day, I don't think there are any regrets at the end.
Yeah, same. Well, I think when you try to do your best, in retrospect, everything is easier, right? So maybe for me, when I had my injury at my foot, and I wanted to come back and play, and say I didn't listen. No, don't play back to back. No, I'm good. I'm going to play back to backs. And Dirk even came to me with the game that I played in Dallas and say, I thought your injury was going to take you longer. So I thought, no, I'm good. I'm ready. You push through, but when you try and do your best, and you compete, you try to leave it all out. There's really no regrets. I had a fantastic long career, successful. Things could have gone better, maybe worse, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with everything how it's played out, and obviously it's taken us to this moment. So, shit, right? I mean,
Pretty good.
Pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Dwyane?
I agree. I mean, you can't have regrets, especially when it's ended in the Basketball Hall of Fame. But I'm sure we all have moments we want back. We can watch games right now and watch it like it was yesterday, and want that layup back that we missed. I want that free throw back that we missed. I want that shot. So it's moments that I'm like, I want that moment back. But the regret, no. Like, I had no idea. It's not like I knew I was going to be here. Like, I wasn't deemed to be here. And so, like, my entire career to me is like imposter syndrome, in a sense, And so I'm happy with the way my career went, but I definitely get some shots back, you know what I mean? And certain things, yeah, give me some of those back. Hopefully I'll do better the next time.
Tony would love to have a block back, the possibility of blocking someone like.
Tony, I have one.
Yeah.
There is something that people don't often talk about. First and foremost is your brain. People always talk about abilities and what you have and what you were born with, but your brain, your ability to see the floor. And you all had to do it is when you're supposed to be the guy, like you were in Dallas, like you were in Memphis. With Kobe, it was a bit more difficult, with all due respect. Then LeBron's come with you, and more Shaq came. We already know you guys for life anyway. But I had to do it. Pau will know, you will know, so you will know. I used to play in a team where balls were always coming for me all the time. Then I go to Barcelona, I was touching like 4 balls per half when I was, yeah.
It was messy.
But then suddenly I could dictate, if I make mistakes, you touch 25, people don't see your mistakes, they see what you do well. Thanks. When you touch 4, you have to make sure that those 4 are great. So suddenly, the rate is not. So I need to understand, I know for me, obviously, but I need to understand. For example, I will, because you play with LeBron, no disrespect to you played with Kobe also. But that was your team.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say. For me, that was your team. But the ability that you all had, but you had, to step aside, to understand that team first. Can you guys explain to people what it means? Because I used to go to sleep saying to myself, I can play. Give me the ball, I can do that too. But the team didn't need me there. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely you're going to have a lot of conversations with yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
You're definitely going to talk to yourself. You may not talk to everybody else, but you're going to have a lot of personal conversations. I'm in the mirror. We became best friends.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, of course, it's a team sport, right? Like, of course. And you want to do everything for the team. And I said this yesterday. It's easy to tell, Mario Chalmers to run to the corner or Norris Cole to get down the court, because it's easy to tell me to sacrifice, to tell them to sacrifice for what I want them to do. But it ain't easy for you to sacrifice, right? And so it was hard. But, ultimately, you want to be the ultimate teammate, the ultimate role player in whatever your role is. And my dad, I go back to the beginning for me, and it's silly, but I remember I scored like 31 games when I was a kid. And I was proud of myself. I came home ready to tell my dad, like, I scored 30, and he looked at me like, okay. And then I came home, and another game, he was like, what'd you do tonight? I was like, I had 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 steals, 5 blocks, whatever, right? And he was so excited. We took me to McDonald's and everything. And he was like, this is how you impact, and this is the player you need to be. Just being a scorer, that's not it. You have to be an all-around player. So my whole life, I always felt like I need to be more than just one thing, because I want my dad to take me to McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? And so, playing with someone like LeBron, man, I mean, Wade County. You don't think that it was hard for me to go from having 50 pick and rolls a game to having 9 shots, and everybody in the media saying, he fell off. I'm like, I was 7 for 9. Like, I ain't even touched him. But, you got to be bigger than that. You got to be bigger than your ego and your pride. For me, if you have something that you want to accomplish that's bigger than your individual self. And I wanted a ring. I wanted that confetti. I wanted that champagne. And so I had to talk to myself a lot.
No, same for me, because when I first came in the league, like, everything was going inside, it was for Timmy and David Robinson. Every single play was like 4 down. Doesn't matter what I do or Manu, what we do. And we talked about it last night with Manu. I can have a game, I had like 40 points, and the next game, don't even call one play for me. I'd be like, no play for Manu. It was Timmy. Timmy was our franchise. He was our LeBron James. He was our franchise. But I think our success, with the Spurs, we never let our ego, especially me and Manu, we never let our ego be, above the team. Yeah. And we accepted, our roles, that Timmy was the main guy, and me and Manu, we were like the I don't know how to say, the other guys, basically.
No, you then home.
Huh?
Because, when you go home...
But me, I was never Wade County, so it's even worse for him, because he was like you said, that was his team. Me, I arrived, it was Timmy's team, so it was like no discussion. But we still have to sacrifice, and I still talk to myself, like you said, sometimes man, I wish I can show more and stuff like that. But like you, I wanted the confettis, I wanted the champagne, I wanted the cigar, like Michael, I wanted all of that. So.
I wanted that.
I think for me it's also understanding the bigger picture.
Yeah, really, bigger picture.
Understand, that ultimately you want to win, and maybe you have to adjust, you have to sacrifice a part of your game, but if that gives you a better chance to win, so be it. you know. So when I got to LA and the media, you know, kind of started saying, oh, you think with Kobe, they try to create some type of tension right away. I'm like, look, I'm not here to, this is Kobe's team. I'm here to complement this team and him and to make this team a better team and give ourselves a chance to win a championship. That's all I'm focusing on. So I focus on being a better rebounder. I focus on being a better defender. And then playoff cope, you know, and facilitate for my teammates with the triangle offense. And then when I had the chance to go to work. And I can do that too. So that's what I basically focused on, and then it turned into 3 straight finals and 2 championships, and you know, so that's it. That's what you work for. It doesn't matter if you score 20, 30, and you end up losing in the first round or second round. At the end of the day, it's all about winning rings, right?
Do you feel sometimes like players, right now, you know, they love to say that, but they don't really do it.
Oh,
you know
my
what I mean?
God.
For sure.
I was just thinking that.
Because everybody is saying they want to win, but
Sure,
they don't really want to win.
That's the easiest thing to say.
They want the shoe contract.
Of course.
They want
They want the
max
younger
contract,
team.
and they want the money. And sometimes some of the moves that happen, I will never understand. Now, I'm not going to name names because I'm not here for that. But I'm like, some of the players, it would have been so much easier to just stay, you know, and try to win. And at the end of the day, it takes time to win. And I love what the Spurs did when we didn't win for 7 years. You know, we won in 03, 05, 07. And then we came close, but they never broke, you know, our team because we were always there every year. And I feel sometimes now they break teams like so fast, or now the players are just leaving now. So I just feel like if we can say something to the younger generation, you know, that they can learn from what D-Wade did or what you did, you know, that to win championships, you're going to have to make sacrifice, but just don't say it, like, do it, you know what I mean? Like, really do it.
To me, great players have to be able to adapt with the team. Sometimes you get older, you lose a step. It's always about change, always comes at you in professional sports. And yeah, we as great players, we need to adapt to the situation. And sometimes it might be more scoring. Sometimes we had 1 year where I was in my prime, where we had Antoine Walker and Jameson. And one of the hardest years I've ever had because everybody needed their touches. But at the end of the day, it just is what it is. It took us a while to figure it out, and when we still had a good team. But it's about adapting to what the team needs. This is not tennis, or it's not a personal sport. We need to do everything so the team can have success, and that was always the main goal.
What's the best team in your opinion? You know, I always say Thierry played in the best team in soccer in Barcelona in 2009. They won everything. D-Wade, for you to know, Barcelona. Shout out to Barcelona. They won everything in 2009. Who do you think was the best team ever in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, we go back to
it's just to shout out for Thierry because we have him on the show.
For sure.
In 2009, they won every single trophy possible in soccer, and they played maybe one of the best games ever. The way they were playing and passing the ball. The players,
it's like they probably have like 5 Ballon d'Or level players in the team.
You can say
even
10.
more, yeah, even more.
No joke. That's why I just say and Wade.
Yeah, unbelievable team.
Because I'm looking at guys in the dressing room that they're looking at me the same way.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to have the ball. There's one ball, and 11 players at that level. So if you don't adapt, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
But if you do, we took 6 in 1 year, like the 6 cup that you can play. We won them.
Yeah, it's hard to say in the NBA because there's only one championship. Right?
I know, but first time ever.
Right. Yeah, which is.
So, to compare to the NBA, who you think is the best team?
It's always hard. Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to compare eras again, like we talked about the GOAT talk the other day. I think,
like the GOAT talk we had. Yeah.
Is it Jordan 70, whatever, 71, 72 or the Warriors? They obviously had assembled an amazing team in Miami.
So do you prefer to win 73 and lose or 72 and win?
To win all day. Any day, every day of the
40
year.
and win. Let me just make the playoffs and win.
I'm good with that.
What's yours?
For me, I'm a little bit biased. I'm biased because I'm a huge Bulls fan. So
Which
I
year?
would think
Which one?
Which year?
96.
96.
For me, the
Rodman,
96 team.
Kukoc.
96 team for me is the best ever, but I'm a little bit biased because I'm a huge Bulls fan, and I think whatever happens, whatever team you put against, when it's the last 2 minutes, I believe that Michael will take over. Whatever happens, whatever scenarios, he will take over, and they will win the game because they will be close. So So that's why that's me.
I get that. Yeah.
That's why.
There's
I
also
think.
discussion. What rules do you play under? Do you
I know,
play
I
under
know,
the
I know.
90s where
And
MJ
can we
can
play
get in?
defense
You
or
can
not?
get in the staff, push him off some of his stagger screens, or you play in the newer league.
Or you can't
where
touch him.
Nobody can touch anybody, and I mean, there's so many moving parts to this, but it's always interesting discussions. They go on for forever.
So I'll say, give me a top 3 then. So you put 96 Bulls and you put the
Can
Golden
you put
State
your
Warriors.
team? Can they put their team?
Yeah, you can put your team, of course. Of course.
I could see you.
No, I'm
each
thinking,
give a
I'm thinking
top
about the
three.
Bulls.
Let's
I mean, they
each
won
Yeah.
6 rings.
Yeah,
I've
'cause
been-
you're from Chicago.
Yeah, I'm
that's
from
why.
Chicago. I mean,
So
my
you-
mind went to
yeah.
the Dennis Rodman era when Dennis came to the Bulls. Like,
96,
they were
7, 8.
amazing. But yeah, like Dirk said, I mean, we start thinking about the actual eras and the rules and all that. Now it gets crazy. So, but for us personally, I'm with Tony, 96 Bulls.
Which one?
I'm the same. I grew up watching, well, a bit before when Michael Jordan changed everything for a lot of people, by the way. So I'll go 96 also. Bulls, obviously.
Matt?
I'm with the Warriors. You know, I'm a LeBron defender and stuff. And I know, to me, he played against in his era, against the best team assembled. And not his era, because he has like 3 different eras, LeBron, but like the 2015, 16 with the KD, Clay, Steph, Draymond.
That was a heck of a team.
That was a hell of a team, boy.
It's a cheat code. There is spacing, there's threes, there's mid-range, there is defense, there is the 2 best shooters of the generation. I mean, to me, this team is...
One thing these teams probably have in common is the coach, the leader.
Oh, cool.
How great on that sideline. You know, you think of Steve Kerr, obviously, the champion, Phil Jackson. And that's the one thing I think all these conversations will have is that coach, too, that don't get the credit like the players.
Yeah, Steve can get a lot of credit. And I played with Steve, too, so like, great guy.
And what about the dynasty? So, no, you didn't say your top 3.
Well, yeah, I would say Bulls. Probably. I mean, I grew up in the 90s, of course, and I was a big Bulls fan, so I would say the Bulls, but, you know, there were some amazing teams. We didn't even talk about, you know, the Lakers in the 80s, and obviously Bird and...
Kobe, Shaq. Lakers.
Yeah, Kobe, Shaq.
I mean,
I've never seen...
There's been some amazing teams.
The duo.
No, but I was at the game. And although I obviously didn't play basketball, but I understand moments. I understand, you know, I'm looking at you guys, your body, the way you move. I'm like, what? I've never seen a human moving another human being like Shaq did on Dikembe Mutombo. In my life, I've never seen that.
2001.
I was sitting behind the basket. I'm in Philly. And Dikembe made the mistake of saying, we don't need to put a double team on Shaq. He's in the post, and I swear, Dikembe was doing this.
feet coming off the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my brother, I'm like, they won. They won 3, because I don't know if you remember that final was 2-3-2.
Yeah.
They won 3 in Philly. But Dikembe is big. How do you move a guy just by posting him? Like,
By being bigger.
yeah, I know, but I'm like, but I'm looking at the building already.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's why also maybe that team was.
They were tough.
I was lucky. I mean, obviously, every team and every final is special, and the Bulls dominated the 90s. I grew up being a Bulls fan myself, obviously. As we are very similar in closing age here. But to me, and I don't know what, that 2010, and I know I'm a little biased, but that's play Game 7 against the Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
A Celtics-Lakers rivalry, to feel that. And not that we probably had the best team of all time by any means, but Game 7 against the Celtics, to win at home a championship, it doesn't get much bigger or much better than that.
It's special.
So
I remember cutting my TV off as soon as when Kobe ran and grabbed that ball. I was like, LeBron.
all right, bro.
Especially losing against them before.
CV, what are they?
I ain't lying to you. I'm not lying to you. I cut the TV off when I watched that shit, and I watched Kobe run and grab the ball and celebrate. I was like, So what you gonna do?
That
That was our summer free agency. They were dominating. Like Kobe was winning all these rings. I was like, wait, hold on. Now he got 5 and we got 1? Like, no. So that was a.
It's great how
I'll change the league.
How he
I want
created.
y'all to know that.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, we're proud of that. Yeah. No, it's crazy how the effect, right, of winning and losing, and obviously what we said about the competition making you better and motivating you, right? You want to experience that. You want to, we all been there. We want to win. We want to end at the top. Celebrate, and that's what you work for. That's what you put the whole
best
thing.
feeling ever. But Game 7, I agree. When we won Game 7 against Detroit, that was one of the best feelings ever. It felt like a Super Bowl, like Game 7. And obviously, I was on both sides. We won one, we lost one. But it's the best feeling ever, like Game 7.
I'm thinking because we didn't talk about the Spurs, right? What did you guys think when you played the Spurs? Because obviously I'm going to be biased because
It's one of
they're
the
like, you're
greatest
you're
dynasties.
losing against a team that we had some teams like that in football where you play against them and you're like, they're not good, but we lost. and you're like, what? I don't understand. And those guys always, they're not sexy, they're not. What did you think about, them?
Well, I would say normally when you play against a team, and definitely once you get to the finals, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be some shit. They didn't talk.
Yeah.
No shit. There was no trash talk going on. You couldn't even get them to look at you the wrong way, to get you to
Something.
give you something extra to be like, oh, he looked at me. They didn't do none of that. They just played
They
basketball.
come to work,
And I
no
was
handshake, nothing.
like, you want to bump, so you want to start something. Like, let's
Yeah.
get nothing. They just beat you. And it was so odd because I'm so used to getting something. The media give us something to nothing.
Fire me up.
It was just who's going to be better at basketball. Who's going to execute better. And it was a different finals playing against them. And we played it back to back. And so you think the next year is going to be? No. They just whooped us and went on by their way.
But you know why we didn't talk trash? Because we had a lot of respect. Like when we play you guys, like me, I had a lot of respect for you. A lot of respect for LeBron. So that's why I never talk trash. Because I will respect you and I'll have an appropriate fear. And we always talked about that in our locker room. Appropriate fear for who we're playing against. And always respected my teammates.
Don't poke the
and
bear.
always respected our opponents. Like I said in D. Wade's podcast, I thought you were the GOAT, so why I'm going to talk trash to you? You were my little brother's favorite player. Like, he will always come and say, you see D. Wade, what he did?
No.
And I was like, and for me, I was
like,
like, dead serious. Like, Dwyane Wade! You know, like this.
running in the
My little
house.
brother all the time. All the time. Pau, Spain.
Yes.
Like, you were like the standard for me, for the national team to try to, And so for me, I was trying to, to have the appropriate fear to play against you guys. So that's why we never talk trash. Sorry I didn't help you. I needed something.
The quietest finals I ever. What happened? Kawhi didn't talk. Tony didn't talk.
Kawhi didn't talk to us,
Tim
so
didn't
don't
talk.
worry.
Kawhi didn't talk to that either.
Nobody talked, but Pop. Pop's the only one talking.
He was the only one, yeah. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Dirk.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pau. Thanks, D. Wade.
Thank you.
We're going to have a great night tonight. Thank you, Thierry. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
It's a wrap. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Pour terminer, j'aimerais remercier le Hall of Fame. Merci pour tous les accès. C'est pas tous les jours qu'on va filmer un show dans le musée du basket à Springfield. J'aimerais remercier mes invités, Dwyane Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol. C'est quand même la classe, hein. Thierry Henry, Pokora. Donc je vous donne rendez-vous déjà pour le 2e épisode. On sera encore un peu dans le fame, mais cette fois en français, parce que je serai avec mes 2 hosts, Stephen Brun et Leslie Boitrel, et on reviendra dans des grands débats avec Pokora et Thierry Henry. À la semaine prochaine, tous les vendredis à 18h.